Hi Capricorn, welcome to your November 2019 love reading. It's Raina here. The reason I paused was I was like, okay, because usually, I'm doing the month afterwards, and this is a late November love reading. But I got myself into this mess, and I'm going to get myself out. This mess meaning, I started the series before the month was out, and I don't want to just do half the signs, so my readings are intended not to be a fortune teller who has more information on your life than you do, but just as a catalyst for thinking at a deeper level. I don't know how many of you know who Teal Swan is. She calls herself the spiritual catalyst. I really wish I could have come up with that one because that is such a great, a label for yourself, okay? So, and these readings are intended for single people as well as those who are in relationships that are really struggling and you're deciding, what your next move is going to be. The heart of the matter is the Three of Wands, and this is a card of wanting more from your life. This is a card of expansion. And sometimes in relationships, especially long-term relationships, this can manifest as boredom, a sense of the relationship is stagnating, not having that sense that you and another person are really growing. This is really the main issue. You can have like some real emotional scenes. And Lord knows I've been with my partner for 37 years, and that definitely is true. It is. You can still have a basically good relationship and yet have these like wrenching emotional scenes, but there's growth there. There's like underneath all of the anger or the whatever fear that is generated, there is this sense of like having been wounded at a deep level long ago. And the more conscious you are, the more you can stay on top of it. Like, for instance, this happened to me last night, and it was even this morning we were still talking about it, like everything was fine, and then all of a sudden I was having conflict in my relationship, and both of us had reasons why we reacted the way that we did, why the other person was triggered, and why, I was triggered by by something as well. And we had our own ways of dealing with it. And sometimes these are misinterpreted too, by the other person. So, even relationships that are generally sound can go through challenges. So if you're having challenges, that doesn't mean that your relationship is on the rocks. When you know that it's on the rocks is when you don't feel like you're growing. You feel like it's just, if you're having arguments, they're just staying at that basic level. But, when people are looking for perfection, I think that can be very challenging for them to be in relationship, because it can be one of your biggest ways to grow, but not necessarily that pleasant sometimes. Pleasantly growing, sometimes it can be very hard. And sometimes you don't need that kind of, interaction, and you will know in your heart of hearts whether something is too much for you to bear. But I just want people to realize that growth can show itself in many different ways, even when you're having heated discussions or downright, arguments, and you're really yelling, you can still grow in those circumstances. But, whatever this is, you probably feel like you can't grow. If you're single, this can be a sense of you having been growing and you are looking for somebody that matches that. And this is evidenced by the past position, which is the Ace of Swords, which is a card of like, things becoming clear to you and you're able to take a new stance or go into a new direction because of it. Remember that the South Node is transiting through your sign. So old issues, old habits can really dog you right now where you are, and well, I should have said too, Pluto's there, Saturn is there, your ruler, Saturn. So, Capricorns are getting it from all angles, really, come to think of it. I should ask Capricorns that I know, how are you doing? How have the last few years been for you? But yeah, it's coming at you at all angles and forcing you to change. I liken the Ace of Swords to like, having a mirror shoved in your face. No, that's not appropriate. That would be more like Pluto energy. But the Ace of Swords is just like, maybe it was foggy and now it's clear. And this can happen in the realm of relationship. Sometimes it takes years. If you're talking to somebody and they have had like a very dysfunctional relationship, and you're like, how could this person stay? Maybe everybody knows that their partner is a womanizer, or the female version of it, a cheater, and they stay, and then something happens where light goes off goes on for them, and they realize that. Or maybe it's just like the person takes it to such an extreme that they finally realize that this person is not going to change, at least while they're with them. That person, I believe everybody has the capacity to change. But sometimes, depending on the relationship, they might not want to change because they think that they can get away with it. So whether you're single or in a relationship, something has dawned on you. The higher message, and I think this goes along with this may be something you're already thinking about, is the Five of Pentacles, which is a card of lack consciousness. Excuse me. In relationships, this manifests as, low self-esteem, which keeps you in a bad relationship. And the thinking is, this could be the best I could get. What if I don't have anything else? Excuse me, it's the morning. I have to clear my throat. What if there's nothing else out there for me? Maybe nobody will ever love me. And that is haunting if you are walking through life saying, I want to be loved. Now, I think it's a human trait to want to be loved. But, it's very easy to be loved when you love yourself. Yeah, that's a cliche. But it's also the only person that matters is you. None of these other people out here matter. They're not even somebody that you love, dearly. It doesn't matter if they love you. If you love them, that's all that counts. If you feel that sense of love for somebody. Usually when I think of wanting to be loved, it's wanting to be validated. It's wanting to feel like you're okay. And that you're not a piece of garbage. These kinds of things. So it's coming from that Five of Pentacles perspective. It's coming from a place of lack. I always say I don't care about being loved. I care about being liked. And I don't mean in that sort of way, but I would rather somebody says, I really like you, because love is a loaded word. It sometimes people say I love you because they want you to tell them that you love them. I know, does that sound cynical? Well, I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I don't think that love, just because somebody says that they love you, just because they do nice things for you, doesn't really mean something at the end of the day. What matters is that we feel that we're capable of opening our hearts to others, that we're not shut out from all of humanity, and that we also have respect for ourselves. If you don't have respect for yourself and you're looking for it from others, you will tend to get into these negative situations. And even if you're single, it can be very difficult to really be discerning if you're like feeling kind of a sense of desperation because you feel like you're empty inside. So these issues must be really looked at when you are single, because you don't want to get into a relationship where you're over your head very easily, and then you don't want to leave it. You know, that I think it's much better to be alone than to be in a bad relationship. And the Five of Pentacles doesn't agree with that. And so being intentional in all areas of life is always, to me, a good thing. What crosses you is the Nine of Swords. This is a card of anxiety. This is kind of going along with what I'm saying. You know, whether you're married and you're unhappy, or whether you're single and you're unhappy. Unhappiness, anxiety is an inside job. And looking to other people to kind of rid you of that can lead into some bad situations. And we see this all the time where people are in terrible situations. And that relationship costs them so much. Their health, their mental and physical health, sometimes their finances are affected by somebody else's bad decisions in life, and they still stay there. It's something where you have to have the courage to experience anxiety and yet not need that affirmation from somebody else that you're okay. Page of Pentacles, some sort of message, maybe a new relationship with a fellow earth sign. Yeah, I mean, I got as a higher message the Five of Pentacles. I don't know if that card is connected to Mercury and Taurus. So Page of Pentacles, maybe you're going to hear from a Taurus individual. And so if it's an online kind of a thing, I don't know. But dealing with them, we do have a Mercury retrograde, and it is in Taurus's opposite sign, Scorpio. Oh, let me see. I think, yeah, that's right. We're having a full moon. We're having a full moon in Taurus on November 12th. So that could be something that's going on where you hear from somebody. The fifth house for you is Taurus, Capricorn. So that shines a light on some situation. Now, this is happening during Mercury retrograde. Maybe this is an ex. So if an ex tries to come back, this, I kind of was wondering about this because I was getting kind of like these cards that are a bit negative. And so that might be kind of warning you in November an ex tries to come back, because the outcome, I think you're going to, keep to yourself, and also be very cunning about your. It's not really even a departure. You're not going to maybe take their calls, or if you talk to them, you're going to be very, what they call in the narcissist community, gray rock technique, where somebody is trying to ferret out information from you, an ex. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, awesome. thank you for asking. How are you doing? Like, in other words, you do not give specifics. And some of these people are persistent. No, but I mean, are you still working on things? Yeah, and then you redirect it. Yeah, by the way, how are you, how is your job doing? Like, always put it back on them to avoid having to give specifics about your life. So it's, it's funny because swords relate to communication too. And so you have to communicate in a way that's very strategic sometimes with these kinds of people, because they may present themselves as really like wanting to know about you and caring, and really they have an agenda perhaps. And then I got an additional card for clarification, and I got the Four of Cups. Now look at that picture. What does it say to you? The clouds, can represent the universe, but I would say this is like whoever is in your life that at this time in your life you're meant to kind of have to deal with. And this would be maybe an ex. And you've got like an indifferent expression. So that's kind of what it is. This is like really realizing why you broke up with somebody in the first place. And this can be for somebody who's single too, I mean, it's well, duh. I mean, if you're married, your lover is going to come back into your life. I think that the Three of Wands, if somebody is married, that they are on the precipice of getting divorced. And maybe you're even separated. And this person is coming back with this lovey-dovey behavior. This can totally be a trap, especially if this is not how they normally operate. People, when they have a fight, they may act nice out of out of remorse, because they really are sorry for what they've done, so they're a little bit extra nice. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you had a breakup, it was horrible, or it was like you didn't even see it coming and they just like took off, they ghosted you or what have you, but it was horrible on your end. And they did something very disrespectful to end it, like, just took off, didn't tell you, but now are so lovey-dovey. There's something off with that. It doesn't add up. You have to like really be looking at a person's behavior to you overall and see if you see patterns where somebody is mean and then they're very nice. They're very mean and they're very nice. That is troubling. That is troubling if this happens on a regular basis. Yeah, sometimes in relationships, a healthy relationship, the person may even be mean because they're going through something, or they felt triggered, they misunderstood. Sometimes people, I'm not talking about really bad, but you know what I'm saying, something that, feels that it was unkind. But even when they're trying to make up, it's not over the top. It's really, kind of sincere. It could be a quiet, humble apology. But when people just act so, like, they want, buying you all these things, and they're just trying to, suck you back in, obviously. But it's hard to see it when you're in the moment. So that's what I want to say. Usually I will leave it open-ended, but I'm just going to go for those people who may, during this month, experience an ex coming back into your life when you're trying to move forward. That's the key. The Three of Wands is like you're ready to grab the brass ring. Maybe this is even career related. And now this person is coming back. It's like they have this, I don't know, it's like black magic or something, like they're able to intuit something, but it's not, their heart isn't in a good place. Because usually the victims of empaths are the ones, the victims of narcs are empaths, and they are the ones who are supposed to have the intuition. So how come these guys have it? The ones who are the narcs. It's just, they must just have that part to them. And that's what makes them able to get inside of your head so much. I believe people can change. I'm not going to say that we should not ever take anybody back. But if you really know that the situation was a bad one and they're just acting very nice, but they've done this before, and it almost seems kind of artificial, then, just heads up about that. Okay, Capricorn, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this, received something from it. If you'd like a personalized love reading, for instance, my love readings are really astrology based more than tarot based. I find that is the most effective method for looking at a situation. If you're comparing, if there's like a person that you're dealing with and you're kind of like, you think that there are red flags, having somebody that doesn't know either one of you sometimes can be that thing that, like, yeah, I sense that about this person. So please check me out at rainandmoonastrology.com, and the link is below. Take care. Bye.